Hello, Hope Fellowship. Welcome to our Wednesday Passion Week edition and our devotional for the day. As you consider where you are in life right now, I want to ask you a question. Ponder this for a moment, which is, have you ever been betrayed? And I'm assuming that the answer in some way is yes. Maybe it wasn't a deep betrayal, maybe it was. But the question is, how did you feel? What recourse did you have? Our reading for today that I want to read with you really addresses this. In particular, where we are in Passion Week, it's very appropriate. Today is Wednesday, which in many church traditions is actually referred to as Spy Wednesday, noting Judas as the spy. And Wednesday of Passion Week was the day in which Judas, made the decision to go and betray Jesus to the Jewish authorities. I want to read several passages and have opportunity for us to think about them as a church body. The first one actually comes from traditional reading, the morning psalm for this day, according to a number of church traditions. And let me bring that up on the screen so that you can see it. It is Psalm 55. I want to read through this psalm with you. Follow along as I read. Give ear to my prayer, O God, and hide not yourself from my plea for mercy. Attend to me and answer me. I am restless in my complaint, and I moan, because of the noise of the enemy, because of the oppression of the wicked. For they drop trouble upon me, and in anger they bear a grudge against me. My heart is in anguish within me. The terrors of death have fallen upon me. Fear and trembling come upon me, and horror overwhelms me. And I say, oh, that I had wings like a dove. I would fly away and be at rest. Yes, I would wander far away. I would lodge in the wilderness. Selah. I would hurry to find shelter from the raging wind and tempest. Destroy, O Lord, divide their tongues. For I see violence and strife in the city. Day and night they go around it on its walls. And iniquity and trouble are within it. Ruin is in its midst. Oppression and fraud do not depart from its marketplace. For it is not an enemy who taunts me, then I could bear it. It is not an adversary who deals insolently with me, then I could hide from him. But it is you, a man, my equal, my companion, my familiar friend. We used to take sweet counsel together. Within God's house, we walked in the throng. Let death steal over them. Let them go down to Sheol alive, for evil is in their dwelling place and in their heart. But I call to God, and the Lord will save me, evening and morning and at noon. I utter my complaint and moan, and he hears my voice. He redeems my soul in safety from the battle that I wage, for many are arrayed against me. God will give ear and humble them, he who is enthroned from of old. Selah. Because they do not change and do not fear God. My companion stretched out his hand against his friends. He violated his covenant. His speech was smooth as butter, yet war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet they were drawn swords. Cast your burden on the Lord, and he will sustain you. He will never permit the righteous to be moved. But you, O God, will cast them down into the pit of destruction. Men of blood and treachery shall not live out half their days. But I will trust in you. I love this psalm because even in the midst of David calling out in pain, um, he experienced betrayal. And yet he recognized that it was not his role to take justice upon himself, but it was God's. He was trusting in God to bring ultimate justice. And as we think forward to the narrative and where we are in Passion Week, um, Jesus was experiencing this very thing. Um, Actually, the passage in Matthew says this, Matthew 26, when it was evening, he reclined at table with the 12, and as they were eating, he said, "Truly I say to you, one of you will betray me." And they were very sorrowful and began to say to him one after another, "Is it I, Lord?" He answered, "He who has dipped his hand in the dish with me will betray me. The Son of Man goes as it is written of him, but woe to that man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It would have been better for that man if he had not been born." Judas, who would betray him, answered, "Did I, Rabbi?" He said to him, "You have said so." Jesus even knew who was going to betray him. Um, Obviously, he was trusting in the work of his Father, and we see that as we read forward in the passage in Matthew. And as he went to the garden, he was trusting in his Father to do his will, but he knew that this man who had walked with him for 3 years, who was a close friend, it's easy for us to look at Judas and say, oh, they really weren't that close, but he was part of the 12. And so this was yet another painful thing that Jesus experienced. And it makes me think of the fact that even we, in our frailty, as we experience uh, a range of emotions, um, potentially betrayal, you may very easily recall instance in your life in which that has happened. I know it's happened for me, but other emotions. This this brings to me an understanding that Jesus understands, and it gives me great comfort in that. One passage that this brings to mind is actually the author of Hebrews, who talks about Jesus and his role in this. In Hebrews chapter 4, he says, "Since we have a great high priest who has passed through the heavens, Jesus, the Son of God, let us hold fast our confession. For we do not have a high priest who is unable to sympathize with our weaknesses, but one who, in every respect, has been tempted as we are, yet without sin. Let us then, with confidence, draw near to the throne of grace, that we may receive mercy and find grace to help in time of need." May we, as we reflect on this week and all that it means, may we not lose sight of the fact that Jesus is our high priest. He is high priest specifically because of this road that he walked this week. And as we traverse this road in these events, may we be mindful of the fact that Jesus experienced great sorrow, and he knows and understands. He is a high priest who sympathizes with our weaknesses, but he walked the same road without sin. He can empower us in the midst of our challenges. And even as we are the church dispersed this week, I pray that God will walk with you and with all of us through this time, that we would grow stronger in the midst of the trial. Would you pray with me? God, I thank you that we have this privilege of walking with you in the midst of this challenge. This is not new to you. You understand everything that is going on. You understand the range of emotions that we are experiencing. And we want to, like the psalmist, declare that I will trust in God. I pray that you will do your work, transforming work in our hearts, even today, that as we experience the events of this day, that you will bring to mind opportunities and 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 ways that we can encourage one another in trusting you, that you will grow our faith in the midst of these challenges. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Thanks for joining today.